How we doing?
All right, would you say that in the 15-16 season, the Warriors played the best basketball as a team in terms of fluidity, how liquid it was in a way?
Which year? In the
The 73 win season, was that the best you felt?
it's hard to argue with a 4-0 start and 73 wins. Coming off a championship the previous year, obviously we didn't get it done in the finals that year, but I think to sustain that over 82 games was pretty remarkable. And every year is different. I think you can kind of fall in love with the 73 number and not really, think game by game did we play our best? Probably not, but we got wins. We found ways to kind of claw our way to the top in most of those games. But in 2 years, last year we won the championship. We had a different type of journey, but I felt really great about it. This year, we've had a pretty solid season, but feel like we can play a lot better. So that's what we're trying to do. This next 20 games before another championship run.
And when did you play your best game by game, would you say?
I don't know. I would just look at the overall last 4 years in general. We've kind of set a standard of excellence in the league, and that's pretty cool to think about, sustaining that high level of play for so long.
Steph, you haven't been an underdog much lately. You're an underdog tomorrow night. Does that give you a little chip on your shoulder, considering how much everyone's been talking about how great Team LeBron is?
Yeah, I love it. It kind of takes me back to where we were, 4 or 5 years ago, where I was personally. So I'm looking forward to the game. It's going to be a pretty cool vibe to have the teams that we do and the different mixing and matching the lineups and whatnot. And so I've heard a lot of chatter about the names that LeBron has on his team and whatnot, but I feel like we have the best team, the best shooting team. Should be a good, and we got a coach that's catered to I think our roster pretty well, so it should be fun.
Is there more pride on the line for you, considering the team is Team Curry?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's not the Western Eastern Conference. It's Team Steph versus Team LeBron. So you're going to hear a lot of that, and hopefully my team comes out on top.
What about Omri Caspi and what he brings to the table?
Oh, Omri's amazing, man. He's a good friend. He's always brings a positive vibe to the locker room, always plays hard on the court. I feel like he fits well with our system, and he's been a great addition to our team, and we're lucky to have him.
Another word about Manu Ginobili last season when he was going to retire, or everybody thought he was going to retire. You were doing an interview and you kind of stopped because he was walking out of the tunnel after you guys beat him. Could you reflect a little bit on that and about watching him growing up and when you were beginning? What did he bring to the table, or does he bring to the table?
I think he's a champion, right? Like he came onto the scene. I don't know what the expectations were around, where his career might go, but I'm pretty sure he exceeded all those expectations, and to win 5 championships with the Spurs and 4, he was part of 4, and then went play for as long as he has, and do it coming off the bench for most of his career, but knowing he has a vital role and has a vital part in those championship runs. That's a lesson in basketball. You always have to be front and center and starting lineup. You always, the value of all 15 guys on the team, and Ginobili, doing that in a different way it was pretty cool to watch.
And about it, he knows his team, Argentina. What did the 2004 Athens Golden generation give to the NBA? Do you think there's something that changed in the league after the successes of the team play of those days in Argentina and other international teams?
I mean, the basketball around the world is just getting better and better and better, and you're just seeing different styles of players, different styles of teams, different ways that the game has evolved, and there's stories all around the world of how that the game of basketball has been impacted, and I think that's the beauty of the game, how far-reaching it is, and the talent that's in the NBA right now being a product of that.
All right, Steph, this is Black History Month, and, sports has made, great ways for Black people to, elevate and just diversify just the nation. What does Black history have on your story, the impact that it has on your story?
You think about just like you talked about, the people that have sacrificed, made bold steps to opening the door for guys like me, guys like the majority of NBA players in the league, to just even have the opportunity to play this game at the level that we do, and use it as a way to impact our communities as we go forward. That means a lot. And so to celebrate that journey, to celebrate Black excellence and Black history, I think that's an amazing. We have an amazing opportunity to continue to push that message and use our platforms for good. What up, Stack Jack? Speaking of Black excellence, right there. Good to see you too, big fella.
Steph, what were your thoughts when you heard what that Fox News anchor said about Ron and KD? Just shut up and dribble.
Surprising because of how blunt it was and how aggressive and just out of line it was, but not surprising because I've heard that plenty of times before, and that's the tone that people kind of try to put, athletes and Black athletes in a box, to say, basketball is the only thing that you can provide, in this world, and kind of, obviously very upsetting, and I think the way that we handle, the response is to highlight all the good that we all are doing, LeBron included, KD included, every single NBA athlete here that plays this game. That's not all that we're about. That's not all that we contribute to this world. There's guys that are going out putting resources and funds and raising awareness in the community, trying to make the world a better place through what we do. Not be that's not all we're about. And so surprising, but that's the tone that's kind of in our country right now, which is very upsetting.
Talking about the tragedy in Florida, what's your take on the tragedy in Florida? Probably all of those kids, probably fans of yours, fans of the basketball. What's your take on that?
A senseless crime and tragedy that a lot has been said about what needs to happen in our country to change and to the safety around our school systems across the world. And for me as a parent of two daughters that go to school every single day, it just makes you think even more. And I know there's so much talk that's been happening or that's not have been happening around changing gun control laws and things like that. So I don't know how many more examples or cases we need to prove that point. And so hopefully that does change. And we obviously thinking about the families down there that were affected and praying for them as well. Huh? It just gives me a perspective around what I do for a living, an appreciation for being on this stage. It motivates me to keep working hard so that I can be back here every year. And I just enjoy the honor and opportunity to lace up my shoes with 23 of the best players in the NBA as a showcase for the fans. So pretty special opportunity. I think it was surreal the first time I got to be an All-Star, 2014 in New Orleans, and I don't think that feeling has changed much since then. These last 5 years. So definitely appreciative.
Is more about the fun and relaxing, or this time because of the new format, like Team LeBron against Team Stephen Curry, is going to be more about the competition?
It's both. I mean, like I said, it's the All-Star break, if you will. So we want to try to refresh our minds and bodies. It's been a long season so far. We got the most important time coming up, but obviously with the new format, I think it just kind of adds a little different vibe around the All-Star game and should be a little bit more competitive, a little bit more intense on the court tomorrow. And there's a lot at stake from a pride standpoint, if you will. It's not just the Western Conference versus Eastern Conference anymore. It's Team Steph versus Team LeBron. So I would obviously want to win.
Steph, you ever watch Lionel Messi play in Barcelona?
Oh yeah. Who doesn't watch him? Is that a question?
You got a jersey once. Can you kind of feel or see yourself as somewhat comparable, not being the strongest athlete on the court, but with a really great, huge amount of ability that defines in some way the prototypical player of their sport?
Yeah, just I think it's a creative genius to what he does, and a flair, but also there's a fundamental aspect to the flair, if you will. The work that he puts in, I'm assuming, based on his, the talent that he has, and combining that with the talent that he has, and how that kind of shows when he's out there on the pitch, right? So, I think that there's a lot of comparison really around the creativity and the innovation that we bring to our respective sports, and trying to, I guess, impact, I would say, influence the next generations to try to, push themselves as well.
Do we as Argentina are top candidates for the World Cup, do you think?
Oh, I don't know much about that, so good luck to you, I guess, yeah. If I picked a golf all-star team, how many slots are there? 5? I'll do a foursome since we're talking golf. I mean, obviously, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas. I got to put Tiger in there. And my favorite player besides Tiger growing up was Vijay Singh. And so I'd put him in there too. I try to pick current players. Historical, that's a different conversation, I guess. So I appreciate the support, and send a lot of love to Mexico for sure. Yes. There's ups and downs. You have good stretches. You have bad stretches. For different reasons, I think we're Boston being a kind of a brand new team that had a great start to the season, has hit a rough patch, but I'm sure we'll be better because of it. For us, we've been at this thing at this level for 4 years now, and we're human. It's really hard to keep that level of intensity as high of a standard as we hold ourselves to. It's really hard to achieve that every night, and we know we're getting every team's best shot. So that's fine. I mean, we can't win a championship in February, but we can have the right perspective and try to build the right habits. And I think we're in that season right now, and we should be in good shape if we learn the lessons we need to learn going into the stretch run of the season. About Leandro, besides what he does on the court, his layup package, I call it. He was my favorite player to see finish at the rim with his creativity around the rim and whatnot. Besides all that, he was like, what's that movie, Police Academy, where the dude had like all the sound effects and whatnot? That's Leandro. Like, he can make the craziest sound effects I've ever heard in my entire life. So he sent me a video probably 2 weeks ago when we were playing Boston, and he was somewhere watching the game, and he starts making this like high pitched like hey thing on the phone on the video and going crazy, celebrating our win. So he loves life, man. That's what that energy was contagious when he was with us.
Are there more
best NBA dunk of all time?
Well, in game or dunk contest?
In game and dunk, both. Best of all time.
Vince jumping over the 7-footer in was that the Olympics or the World Championship with the Olympics? One for Team USA. So yeah.
Dunker of all time. Who's the best?
See, that's a tough one because there's in-game and dunk contests. Those are two totally different things. So the best in-game dunker, Dominique probably. And the best dunk contest, that's Vince too. That was the best one I think I've seen.
Are there more teams trying to play their way?
There's what?
You have a huge role in the junior NBA. What words of encouragement would you give to the kids in Asia?
the game of basketball can teach you a lot about yourself and build confidence, and hopefully, people are starting to play the game younger and younger so that they can develop their skill sets and enjoy the game and continue to pursue it at higher levels. And I think in this day and age, with how much, I guess how much importance and kind of structure that's put around, the younger basketball players, no matter where they're from in the world, you'll see a lot more talent, widespread throughout the world, making its way into the NBA and to higher levels of basketball. And so I think it's an amazing thing to kind of see happening.
Are there more teams trying?
We heard you were coming to India some years back. That didn't happen. Any plans of coming anytime soon? Any message for your fans there?
I would love to visit India. I think the culture there, the fan base there for the NBA and for basketball I heard it's electric, and for me. So hopefully one day I can get there and get immersed in the culture and visit all my fans there for sure.
Since you said it's going to be more competitive, what is going to be the
Who said?
strategy? You said
Oh yeah.
It's going to be a little bit more competitive. So what is going to be the strategy to beat LeBron?
The strategy: shoot more threes, make more threes, play a little defense, and just have a little bit more fun. That's
Talking
it.
about those threes, are there more teams trying to play the way you guys play, Houston plays, than really there should be? Did it become like kind of sexy, or no, or just that's the way the NBA is going?
Sexy. That's a strong word.
Attractive.
Strong word.
Well, you know what I'm saying. Sexy in basketball terms. There's like 10 or 12 teams play more than 100 possessions a game. That was unheard of before in the NBA. So are there more teams trying to do it than there really should, or no? Or that's the way the game
That's the way the game is right now, and then everything is kind of cyclical. So you'll have these different ways, and I think if you look at basketball historically, there's probably a deeper conversation around that, but just you have a team, you have a team that establishes itself as the best and plays a certain style. Everybody reacts and responds to that, and until there's a roster or a style of play that kind of dominates, and everybody responds to that. And so right now, if you look at it where we are, three-point shot is dominating. Positionless basketball is, and GMs designing and putting together rosters that reflect that. That's how you compete in today's NBA. That could change. The standard big man could come back, and everybody would have to respond to that. And so it's just where we are right now, and I think the talent level and the type of guys that are in the league reflects that.
There that for years we want athletes to be more and say and do something, and now you have these people, many of us in the media saying, hold up, you guys are just supposed to be basketball.
I think it's a reflection of us being able to own our own voice with social media and opportunities like this, where people have, whether they want to agree with what we say or not, or even care to listen, we have the opportunity to speak on what we believe and take a stance and be consistent around that, as well as use resources that we have to put effort and action behind those messages and those causes. And for us, I know if I want to say something and tweet it, nobody can mix up my words. They can come straight to me. I can tweet, I can put it on Instagram, I can say whatever, and you'll know exactly how I feel about a certain issue. And there's power in that, and I think guys recognize that and they appreciate that. All the while knowing, if you take a stance on something, you're not going to please everybody. There's going to be people that hate on you. There are already people that hate on you in general, so you might as well. That's my advice. You might as well not care and just say what you say and believe in what you believe and deal with the consequences later. But that's kind of the revival of just owning your own voice and appreciating what that means and trying to impact people that you care about.
Steph, what do you see as the greatest obstacle for this squad to repeat? What's the greatest obstacle? The team? Is it your own focus?
I mean, it's a tough task just in general. I mean, you think about in the history of the league, how many teams have done it. I think it's not even double digits. So you look at a Spurs team that's won 5 since Popovich's been there. They never repeated. it's a tough task because, like a question earlier, everybody's gearing up for what, you know, they study your game, study your tape all summer long, trying to put together a team that can compete. And we get everybody's best shot throughout the course of the regular season, and obviously in the playoffs that's going to happen. So that's a challenge. We're in the season of, this is our 4th year in a row going after, like realistically going after that championship trophy. So human nature is to lose your edge a little bit. We got to fight that. But I like where we are right now, to be honest. I like that it hasn't been easy. I like that we've had some bumps in the road, and we've had to check ourselves and kind of recalibrate a little bit. And so hopefully that'll carry ourselves to where we want to go when we get back from this All-Star break and look at these last, 4 to 6 weeks and think that was the point that made us, gave us our edge back and gave us that championship look that we're used to.
Gary, what do you think about LeBron and Durant together?
Huh?
LeBron and Durant together tomorrow.
We're ready for them. Nobody's worried about it. LeBron and KD on the All-Star game. We're gonna come at them, be ready to go.
You talked before about ownership and
There was a guy that just was happy to be an All-Star and happy to be on the stage and loves playing the game of basketball. So that was definitely in my mind when I was picking teams in the draft and trying to put together the winning team. Giannis was getting ready before practice today, getting the stretch in, doing some core work, getting a little soft tissue rub down and all that kind of stuff. Coach D'Antoni walked up and was like, "Hey, dude, does he know we're actually not really practicing?" So I like that about him. He takes everything he does seriously, and that's cool. To have the spotlight he has on him at this stage in his career, and to handle it the way he's handled it, I have nothing but respect for him. He's an amazing talent. That's going to be just fine in the NBA whenever he shows up. So the comparisons are what they are. I feel like you appreciate, I guess, that idea, but he is his own person. He's going to have his own career arc and his own journey that he needs to own. And I think it's kind of just, for me personally, it's just cool to see guys that have a similar style, having success, at this stage in his career and the type of success he's had. So I appreciate that.
One more.
It's ongoing. I'll just leave it at that for right now. It's ongoing.
Perfect. Guys, last one.
Say what?
When you were growing up, who was a kid that we never heard of that gave you a chance? Everybody has that one guy.
That's a great question. I had a couple. You just want the names? There's a guy named C.J. Young who was he was one of those guys that was just physically gifted when he was. We played on the same AAU team when we were 12, but he was like a physical specimen. Had speed, had athleticism, had hand-eye coordination, and he was kind of the measure of 12-year-old basketball in Charlotte, where I grew up. So it was nice to be able to play with him. I also played against him at times, and he was one that gave you nightmares, because if you were on the other side of the court against him, you knew you were in for a long day. Oh yeah. He's just physically dominating at that stage. It was a good wake-up call to know what physical basketball meant and whatnot. But yeah, sometimes you wish he wasn't on the court. I don't know where he's at right now, but he played high school basketball in Charlotte. Had a couple D2 offers at the time, but just it never panned out after that, so it was cool. North North Mecklenburg, yeah.
Great, thank you. That's it, guys. That's it. Sorry, thank you.
Yep.
We're going to do stuff since we did cut it 6 minutes.